Okay, so hi everyone again. Thank you for being here. It's time for our great panel to start. I would like to welcome our esteemed guests here. Let's start the introduction with Gerasimos Mileounis from Accenture, that I'm again from Accenture myself, and I feel very honored that he's here with us. He's the Managing Director in Accenture's Data and Artificial Intelligence practice.
George Tsigkris, the Pega Top Leader for Vodafone Greece. Welcome, George.
Stathakis, Director of Data Analytics and AI at Group Viohalco.
And Mike Szewczyk, Regional Sales Manager and part of the leadership team for Southeast Europe at Microsoft.
Thank you. Hello.
Welcome.
Give them, please, a warm applause. And a few things before we start. Is it easy to share the event or a questions link in case the panel would like to ask any questions? Okay. In a few minutes, it will be shared on the back screen. So I guess we can start, right?
Yep, we can. Awesome. So today's session will be a session about low code, no code, and how we can use these tools in the era of AI, how we're going to transform the role of software engineer, and we're going to use a few questions to spark that discussion with our attendees here and our guests. And of course, we welcome your own questions in order to, motivate a bit more the discussion and maybe deviate to a few other routes. Matina?
You can start, please.
I can start. All right. Cool. There we are. So we will have more or less like 5 themes. The first theme is about industry trends and strategic positioning. And I'd like to start from Mike and Microsoft about how has Microsoft positioned itself in the debate between low-code platforms like Power Apps and traditional full-code development.
Thank you, and great to be here once again. And I'm seeing only the strongest remains, so glad to have you guys here. I hope this session will be useful for you as well, like all the rest. So discussing a little bit about low-code development and what's going on in the market globally, I just want to share a little bit some context and some figures first. So when we as Microsoft look at low-code and the public figures we have announced already, we have currently 25 million users right now using Power Apps and the local technologies we have every single day. 25 million, double Greece population, right? That's a lot. And at the same time, what we are seeing is that this will continue growing exponentially. And the reason for the growth is that actually there's 2 reasons. One reason is that IDC actually calculated that in the next 4 years, till 2028, globally, we need to build 1 billion applications. 1 billion applications, that's a lot. And these applications will be, reimagining the existing ones that are currently on premise, their legacy applications, digitizing and optimizing all the manual processes we have, automating them, and also building new solutions utilizing new technologies from scratch. That's one trend, right? The other trend we're seeing is the fact that we have AI everywhere right now. We are infusing AI everywhere. And I told you, 1 billion apps in the next 4 years. And the same organization, IDC, actually calculated that 40% of the apps we will build in the next 2 years are going to be built leveraging AI technologies. So both of these things bring low-code at the forefront of application development and automation right now. Because, we have amazing developers, professional developers, like yourselves, who know all of these technologies and how to build amazing applications, but there's not enough of you. There's a big scarcity of you, and we want to make sure that we enhance your impact utilizing low-code technologies. And at the same time, we're seeing that for every $1 an organization spends on AI technologies like Gen AI, what they get back is $3.7, the ROI of the return of investment, right? So if you are in an organization that's in the forefront of leveraging AI and Gen AI for building applications, the revenue impact of that can be even 10 times that. So low-code technologies, we introduce them as citizen developers and for pro developers. And what we're asking you today is, first of all, to try them because they can really bring impact. I'm going to discuss it later, but also to enhance your capabilities and your impact in your organization by collaborating with citizen developers and Fusion teams. So if you use your capabilities to create better templates, to give better know-how to the citizen developers, your impact will be magnified, will be multiplied many, many times. So that's overall, let's say, an intro to what we see in the market as Microsoft and low-code.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, that's nice. And now I have a question for Nikos Stathakis. How has the adoption of Power Apps changed the way regulated industries approaches internal development projects?
Okay. First of all, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's really a pleasure. One comment before I answer the question. Honestly, I don't see a big debate here about between low-code, no-code platforms and pure software engineering. I would say they are rather complementary. Now, when it comes to Viohalco and prior to Viohalco in other industries like banking, I can tell you that it really helps when it comes to offloading our core software engineering. Okay, what does it mean? I still getting requests that from business units around business application solutions, and we are always saying that we don't have the capacity to focus on this request. So what we have achieved with low-code, no-code platforms so far is that we have managed, let's say, to first of all accelerate the development lifecycle. Okay, so we are managed to create prototypes much faster. We are able to create, let's say, solutions, design iteration much faster. We are able to have shorter time to market timings for new solutions. These are all because we have managed to decentralize this kind of development approach. Of course, this always comes because whenever you are trying to offload and give back time to your core engineer, you make some kind of sacrifices. What is this? You have a lower level of customization, for example. At the same time, you might jeopardize security issues or data breach issues. So all these things are things that we have, let's say, came across during our, let's say, infusion of low-no-code platforms to our environment. Long story short, what we have done, we have seen the potential. We have seen that we can have considerable cost efficiencies. We can have, let's say, much faster times to deployment. But at the same time, in order to make this work, it needs a very centralized governance framework for this to work. So we need, let's say, core software engineers to manage these things, to set the right policies, the best practices, to make sure that we comply with the policies and the regulatory requirements that exist out there, to make sure that this works. This is one. We need again a very strict governance framework to train our people and train the trainer.
We'll go to
Okay,
that.
but
We'll go to
I mean,
that because it's a very big discussion, the new era developer and how to train them. But
this is how it has changed our mentality. So we have given time back to our, let's say, software engineers to focus on more core initiatives regarding enterprise systems, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And we have given also the flexibility to business users to create their own business solutions. That's all, more or less.
okay.
All right. That gives me a nice segue to move to another topic, which is about balancing quality, scalability, integration. So I want to come to, let's say, Accenture, and how do you really balance? So usually low-code solution or like citizen programming might be for low-touch solution, but there are clients, I'm sure, that they require deep integration with either AI models or APIs and stuff like that. So what's that balancing act that happens in your clients, and how do you deal with that?
Very good question. And before I answer that, thank you for the invite. Excited to be here with this amazing audience today. Before I answer the question, I just want to quickly reflect where we stand today. Without any doubt, software engineering and the whole data and AI engineering is one of the most important majors. And some statistics related to that comment. The labor of statistics, they have estimated that the demand is going to be quietly increased until 2029. And this is where low codes come into play. They help us serve the demand. How? The how is essentially they are helping us, let's say, have the focus of our developers on the most value-add use cases, and then essentially releasing them cycles for the most time-consuming ones. Now, how we approach, let's say, the challenge is as follows. What, let's say, low codes have enabled is rapid experimentation, something that was not possible before. Usually, we use rapid experimentation in order to quickly assess and test the idea, make sure that it works, something that in the past it would have taken us weeks, if not months. And then also ensure that the requirements that we have, let's say, taken actually are the valid ones. All in all, we are building an MVP, we are proving that it works, we are optimizing it while we're preparing for the scaled execution.
All right, but what about when you need a deeper integration, when you need to work with the client and, you know, or work with their APIs or try to maybe go, I don't know, I don't want to say agent-like because it's like a buzzword, but, you know, things like where you really need to know what to dig. And
so over there, usually we'll go with a hybrid approach.
Okay.
Do the easy stuff as much as possible with low-code apps, and then leave the complex integrations with, let's say, high-code applications.
Thanks, Gerasimos. All right, makes sense, makes sense.
Okay,
Matina.
so the next question for Tsigkris. With your expertise in low-code platforms, how do you ensure that these tools don't compromise software quality, especially when compared to more traditional development approaches?
First of all, thank you for the participation in this great panel with these great professionals. Also from my side, I would like to say that perfect today's conference until now. So, based on the question, I think I will agree with the previous speakers, and I think we have a common idea about it. More specifically, I believe that low-code platforms like Pega has become, in the last years, a trend also in the Google search, if you would say. So low-code platforms and AI capabilities, how, you know, will be become with the software engineering part together. The answer of it, sorry for this,
No worries.
is that we need both. So we would like software engineers to use these tools. We don't, to be honest, we would like to be part of the integration team, of the team that they will use a system. There are many ways, as the previous speaker said, that, you know, this low-code platform proposes a solution, but maybe does not fulfill the principles and the architecture enterprise or the security principles that a large company like Vodafone has. And to be honest, the last years, we had made several decisions about it, and we used a custom code in order to be able to fulfill these principles. So like a custom code inside the platform, or like, you know, a plain code from software engineers that will be integrated with low-code platform, and maybe will be used also for other clients of the platform. For example, we have taken several decisions to create custom code and be reused from other countries of Vodafone, or maybe from Pega. So Pega has, let's say, used our code in order to help their clients too.
Right. So integrating security in a way from the early stages so that you don't have to bolt it at the end.
Exactly. And again, it's a matter of decisions with software engineers. It's very crucial when we integrate this low-code platform to be used and to be integrated by software engineers, and not only from citizen developers that at the end will use the platform. In the early stages, we have to take decisions about software engineering that we all love, and I think the audience, is happy to hear about it.
So I guess we all agree that the impact on the developer productivity is going to be huge. We can all agree that we see the two, either let's say worlds about low-code development plus full development being symbiotic instead of antagonistic.
Mm-hmm.
Something that always buffers me also, again for my teams, and I'd like Steve, if you can talk about how do you measure the actual increase, if there is an increase in productivity within your teams at Microsoft, like are you using tools like that for your developers?
I mean, there's a few things we see as benefits when using local platforms, either in Microsoft, but also in our clients. And I would say that the three pillars, let's say, one would be, of course, the speed. The other one would be the cost. And the third one, and I think this is the most interesting one, is the pace of innovation and innovation culture. So in terms of building applications, what we have seen internally is that when we use low-code tools to build apps, we build these applications on average at least 50% faster. And what we're also seeing is that the success rate of building an application on automation the first time is 65% higher versus, let's say, custom. Also, let's say the deployment per se is 35% faster. And if you look a little bit at the costs, an average, let's say, company that invests into these technologies on a global scale and also in Greece sees payback from the initial investment within the first 6 months. And they double the value of the value that the applications bring, the free time of the employees brings, the culture innovation brings within 3 years. So I mean, the speed of innovation is much faster. You can prototype stuff easier. You have ready connectors. You can try out stuff. The cost is much lower. It's proven to be lower. And the other thing I want to also focus on is the innovation process. So, you know, I'm in sales, right? I've been selling these solutions for quite some years. And whenever a customer was coming to me, was telling me that they want to start, you know, playing with some power-ups. They want to buy some power-ups because they have the one use case. I always advise them against it. Don't do it, right? Because it doesn't make financial sense, and it doesn't make sense to invest all this time to learn it in order to go into there. So what I've been always advising customers, and that's where they saw always value, is that if you enable all the users in your organization to have access to this automation and digitalization technologies, then innovation happens across the board. You have applications and automation spanning everywhere in the company, and that may scare some IT guys, right? How can I manage hundreds of applications? But we also have the governance in place. And I just want to give you an example I really like, because I really like beer. So that's one of my favorite examples to say. Heineken company, we all know it very, very well. So Heineken company has like 90,000 employees, and each single one of them has access to these technologies. So they have built over the last few years, not a few hundreds or a few thousand, but tens of thousands of applications like this across the company. And the nice thing is that they did an impact analysis on 47 of them, on the 47 most used. And they saw that in a span of the year, they're saving 127,000 hours of their workers. And in terms of revenue, it was, I think, 14 million, something like that. We have an IT company in Greece that is using these technologies that has limited the amount of IT tickets incoming because it's solved through bots, low-code bots, by 70%. We have even a case in HRMS, HR Solutions, HR department, where they had an HR process that took literally 6 weeks to do end-to-end. And thanks to the low-code technologies, the automation, the apps, the bots, we managed to do the same process in 2 hours. 6 weeks, 2 hours. So this is the impact we see.
One comment regarding that, Mike. I think also it depends on the scaling of each company, right? A smaller company will not have these numbers that you mentioned.
That's true. Big impact, many employees, many apps, although we see these applications being adopted even on a smaller scale, because these are not tough to learn how to use, and these are not expensive applications.
And also, I guess smaller could be leaner, so they might not have that impact, but they can go faster, so they can see a bigger impact on productivity, maybe not on cost cutting or going faster, but yeah.
I
Yeah.
think two more KPIs that it's very interesting to be shared is that with low-code platforms and from our internal, let's say, checks, there are two major pillars that are being, let's say, increased. Customer NPS, but also our employee NPS.
All right.
So the customer NPS with the low-code platform, it seems to be, let's say, more easy to be used by the customers with less incidents, as Mike said, but also our employee NPS is being increased due to the fact that they can see very easily and very quickly the feature in the real production environment. So the time to market is decreased, the software engineer is part of the team and is part of the business that goes live with this feature, and it's very interesting for them to see live what they have built.
Okay.
So for me, it's also two main pillars that
And to
are
make sure for the crowd, NPS means Net Promoter
Yes,
Score,
sure.
and it's like, you know, when you do questionnaires, it's kind of a scale that shows the satisfaction, so you can
Exactly.
keep just the satisfaction.
One more thing, George. We have also seen cases where quality of the output is much, much better compared to what it used to be. Why? Because most of the times we use as a proxy to RPAs. We are using, for example, Power Automate since Microsoft is here to create a proxy of an RPA, and we managed to, let's say, substitute manual-driven work like data entry or whatever through this kind of applications. This gives, it zeros actually
Correct.
the issues that you might have with the data entry, which is also a benefit for us.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to the next question. For Gerasimos, in your opinion, are there specific industries or use cases where traditional software craftsmanship remains essential despite the growth of AI and low-code tools?
Very good question, an interesting one. I would like to share the learnings with the clients that we have been working. And over there, we have seen them following a dual engine approach. First one, start to use the low-code apps in cases where there will be more, let's say, more quick wins. Cases that, for example, respond to functions like procurement, the HR, the marketing, the sales and commerce, where all the functionality and the data points are pretty much standardized across the different organizations. But organizations that they would like to invest on high-code applications are the ones that they would like to enable a use case that is more industry and function specific. And over there you have specific requirements that are not met with off-the-shelf low-code applications. You have your own scalability requirements, and over there it makes sense to invest your energy to go that route. So low-hanging fruits via low-code applications, and the more strategic bets just by high-code applications.
Right, thank you.
And after this comment, I see many happy faces in the crowd. So software engineers, you know, we need you. You need to write code. So we're not we delete it from the future.
Yeah, maybe the type of code we need to write changes
Exactly.
a bit, I guess. And it's so expensive right now to train models anyway. So, you know, I don't see many people being able to get into that race. And specifically, very few companies are into this. So definitely code is still needed.
Exactly.
On the same scalability issue, let's say, Nikos, like when you build these large-scale systems, do you really trust your low-code solutions, or you go in and do any manual fine-tuning? Like, is there any human in the loop, like the old days where Facebook was pretending that all the videos were being monitored automatically, but there were thousands of humans actually seeing the videos in real time?
Okay, I think this is really the heart of the problem, and this is actually the reality why we need the low-code, no-code platforms. We need low-code, no-code platforms to free our people in order to focus on this kind of solutions. So whenever we try to build something with scalability in mind and reliability, and in order to be, let's say, the backbone of our infrastructure for other things that are going to come, we definitely need people really experienced that they can guarantee this kind of scalability. I would say that when it comes to customization, when it comes to ensuring security, when it comes to integration with other core systems, we definitely need to have these pure core principles of software craftsmanship. I wouldn't say that I will rely a lot on low-code, no-code platforms for these kind of things. Yes, we can use low-code, no-code platforms in order to, let's say, automate, streamlined, easy workflows to get some quick results and free our people, but not when it comes to really complex systems. This is in a nutshell. Okay.
And I guess human in the loop is, which is not probably not so much in Steelman, but like human in the loop is still important even for training these models or like balancing these models. Like
but one more comment, even when it comes to low-code, no-code platforms, I cannot see this to be just another platform that is going to be handled only from different business units to create their own, let's say, application, because this increases, let's say, the technical debt. Okay, we have a lot of shadow ITs, we don't know what is happening there. And this is something that put us at risk, at least at Viohalco. And to help you understand this, Viohalco is a really big group. We have 5 different segments. Each segments have more than 10, let's say, factories. And on top of that, we have a pure, let's say, software engineer company providing solution for all these factories, for the shop floors, for core services like procurement, supply chain, and so on and so forth. Imagine each factory, each IT department creating their own platform without a centralized government. This is going to be a nightmare. This is going to be a total loss of money, time, everything. So it's definitely one of the prerequisites, our technology people, to have a centralized governance, even for these low-code, no-code platforms. Which platforms do we select? How we select them? What kind of characteristics we need these platforms to have? How do they integrate with other systems? This is actually an extended role of the software engineers. We ask the people from software craftsmanship to extend their role to other, let's say, kind of virtues. How we manage, how we save this kind of platforms. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so another question for Mike. How has the adoption of low-code apps like Power Apps has changed the way your internal projects are developed, and if you have examples for that?
So, I mean, we have a lot of examples internal, like we use low-code everywhere. Every new application that pops up is actually, mostly based on Power Apps and Power Automate. So maybe I will address this question in 2 ways. I just want to tell you something interesting, maybe on the depth and complexity that the low-code platform can reach. So there is this citizen development, right, that business users who know basic Excel formulas and have presentation skills, they can really replace the Excel or the piece of paper and create an application. So that's one thing. This is the low-code. And this is, I think, the low-code that most professional developers always had in their mind. And then there is the other side of low-code development, when you can actually build heavy applications. You can leverage microservices for them, and they can be accessed not by tens or hundreds of users, but by thousands. And I think a great example of such an application would be an internal application we leverage at Microsoft, and that we also give to our customers. And I don't know if you will be surprised or not. I was surprised when I heard about this first time. So all of the Dynamics 365, all of our CRM technologies, all of our stack is actually, I would say, an over-glorified Microsoft professional developer build Power App with Power Automate. So you can really, if you know how, if you have a professional developer working on it, you can really build enterprise apps. Of course, you cannot build any application, but some you could as well. So if we look, how do we leverage these applications internally, and what are the use cases we leverage it when talking with customers, this would be for sure like fast prototyping, some specific enterprise-grade apps. It could be, and this is also interesting, when you want to infuse AI in an application, there is a fast way to do it with low-code. So you can have some ready-made machine learning models for forecasting, for OCR, for invoice processing, that you can just embed within the application. So you don't need to develop all of these machine learning models yourselves. And you can also leverage out of the box, agents and AI for, Copilot Studio. So you have intelligent agents for that. So that's what we use it internally as well for. And what else can I say? And last thing, the average business department in a company has approximately 8 software as a service solutions, 7 legacy on-premise solutions, and the integration layer is usually the human with Excels and CSVs, right? So what we're seeing and how we're using it also internally, we're a behemoth, like 30, 40 years of life, so many applications. How we're using this is we're actually using the Power Apps here and there to collect data from here and transfer it there. We use Power Automate to create a flow to combine 2 applications. We use an agent, so we have less tickets, and we create this kind of ecosystem. And you might say you are adding applications to the existing ecosystem of applications, so you're actually increasing the complexity within Microsoft or at our customers. And that could be true, but it is actually not, because all of these applications have a same governance, same security principles, same way of building them. So it's actually you have one app that controls everything inside the company. And that's what we're seeing in the future also as Microsoft, that this may not be in my benefit because I sell CRM and ERP systems mostly, okay? So what we are seeing is that in the future, actually slowly, not only will replace manual processes with this low code, not only will replace legacy apps with these low code solutions, but also we will start replacing big software as a service applications like CRMs, for example, by extending these low code tools. And we actually have one example of a customer that has done it on a big scale, has done all these 3 things, and has achieved a cost cutting of totally 85% of the total cost on all of the application ecosystem in their company because of leveraging low code at this type of depth.
All right. I think it makes sense. I think leveraging for cost cutting or optimizing or simplifying or automating the human in the loop factor where it wasn't really needed or it was like a necessity in the past. Before we go to questions from our attendees here, I'd like to address a bit the talent and skills and development theme. And I'll start from George here, and it's a question for everyone actually. How should we as tech leaders approach the upskilling of the young people, of the attendees that are here? Like, is there anything we need to cater differently for them, or is it anything new that we need to provide them?
Let me share with a very quick story. Back in 2019, we have the pleasure to be the first Vodafone country from the Vodafone group that we decided to build a new low-code team of engineers. And all of us, go to group and we said, guys, we want to do this. And they hear like, what you will do? Come on, low code, no. Okay, so when we go to the market, we found exactly the same answer from the candidates. So we say to them that, guys, it's a low-code platform, but you will write code. You have a software engineering mindset. You have to have a software engineering mindset. You have to understand the software. You will build custom code maybe on it, or you will expand the features of it. And they didn't trust us because they didn't know that there is this capability. So I think the first thing that we have to change in our candidates is the mindset, and the mindset is being changed by panels like this. So we have to understand, we have all the software engineers, because I was also a software engineer, I am a software engineer. We have to understand that low code does not mean no code, it means less hands-on code by us, but many architectural decisions, many guidelines that you have to build from your scratch, from your own, and there are many parts that you have to build from your own and then share it to the customer. So first of all, it's the mindset, and then of course we have the low-code platforms to have training material to be free, this training material, and be visible to all the engineers in order to learn these tools, all the tools that exist in the market. And then I think we all here have a better approach when we make a discussion with software engineers to come to our team. This is my approach.
Gerasimos, did you share the same insight?
I'll pretty much summarize what George said. So it's a two-step approach. First of all, assess how the current team is actually, let's say, performing, so that you can do two things. First of all, have a targeted plan in order to upskill them, and then find the gap so that you fill them by targeted, let's say, newcomers to the team so that they fill the gap. But with low codes, it's also a shift change, new ways of working. So you need to re-engineer your internal processes. You need to rework them and then start executing against those. And actually the same thing we went through in the 1980s. PCs were introduced into our jobs and we had to convince our people to go towards that shift. Same challenge today with the low-code apps. We need to convince our people that that's the future. They should be using it and they need to coexist with high-code applications. So those are the two, let's say, speeds that we need to go through.
And another question, in order to build up a bit on that, is there talent out there?
Yes, there's great talent, and we couldn't be luckier in being in this country. And essentially, with your question, you know, we as Accenture, we have our global data and AI COE here in Athens that we are not only serving Greece, but we're serving clients all over the globe. So the talent here is at the very best. And we are actually hiring now, so time is now.
Great.
You all heard him. So, Mike, what do you think about that skills gap and upskilling?
So for sure there is great potential in Greece, in the market here. We see that students are getting their hands on these technologies already. We're seeing that people in the companies we work with, they're getting their hands on this already. But what we're seeing also is that, you know, when we're introducing these technologies and trying them, they're saying, I need to hire 2, 3 more people that are only for this. And while everybody starts learning this, there's not enough trained people. So there's a huge opportunity in this. And as I told you, 1 billion apps will be built globally in the next 4 years, 40% of which in the next 2 years only leveraging this kind of low-code and AI tools. So this will be growing as a technology. So the time to invest is now for sure in the skill set. And the way we provide access to this skill set is everything we have is published online through MS Learn, Microsoft Learn. So you can go through the trainings there. We have specific certifications for different levels. So that's the way we approach it.
Yep. From my point of view, I think there are 2 kinds of people that you need to train. First of all, are the people that are going to use these platforms, and that people may usually not be, let's say, software engineers, may are business analysts or data analysts coming from different business departments, procurement, supply chain, logistics, whatever. So you need to train these people, to upskill these people in order to use this kind of platforms. And actually, you will be surprised how eager these people are to hone their skills in this area. And on the other side, you have the people that they are coming from the software development world. And you need to convince them that it's not a waste of time to make a switch to this area. And I would dare to ask how many people from here, from this audience, would consider switching to low-code, no-code platforms, teams.
Would you like to answer that? Would you consider to switch for low-code, no-code apps?
You can raise your hand if you would like.
Well, for me, that was the number 1.5 I had.
1.5,
yes. It's early days.
And there is also from a team 1 member. I don't know where is it.
It's early days. It's early days.
Let me share a personal experience. Okay, before joining Viohalco, I was working for a big, for one of the 4 banks in Greece. We identified the need for having, let's say, low-code, no-code platforms to cover the gap when it comes to loans origination process and this kind of thing. And no one from the software, from our IT team wanted to join. So we told them that either you do that or you need, let's say, to sacrifice some of your useful time in order to deal with really daunting tasks for these business units. Still, they were not, let's say, persuaded. So we brought Accenture. Okay. So, yeah. Accenture came there with 20 people. They started developing solutions from nowhere. Then they started the people in the IT, they start realizing that they need to address issues with security. They need to address issues with overall architecture. They need to address issues with the integration points with other core systems. They started having a view on the big picture of the whole process, and they started understanding exactly what they are doing. And within 6 months, we managed to have, let's say, 40-person teams, half of them coming from inside the IT. So actually, what we managed to do is to persuade them that it is a good investment of time to start looking on the bigger picture, not only focus on developing code. It's not only developing code. It's how the role of software engineer is transforming in the AI world. Okay, and by the way, it's not only the traditional low-code, no-code platforms with drag-and-drop things. Okay, for example, capabilities with Copilot Studio, creating your own agent, doing stuff. It's also a low-code, no-code example in the AI world. Okay, and this is going to be dominated. Okay.
If I may add a comment, I would just say that your question was great, but maybe the question should be not if anybody would switch to another platform, but if you would be willing to enhance your productivity and your impact and effectiveness by also leveraging that. So we don't want professional developers to become citizen developers. We want to increase the impact of professional developers by allowing them, like I told you, to create templates for the citizen developer colleagues to build more applications faster. So it's, don't become citizen developers. You are a scarce resource, we need you, but leverage this. Like, we have all of these Gen AI and AI, and business users are leveraging this. The same way you should be leveraging the local no-code solution, because you will be much more impactful in your companies, organizations, thanks to that. And the tools we offer are just tools, it's just a platform, and they're like useless on their own. You make them something great, so we just produce software. You make the, let's say, the magic happen with them.
Well, this description is way more persuasive.
Yeah, he's Microsoft. He needs to sell. You understand?
I think Gerasimos wants
Just more of a comment, Steve. While hearing you, to be honest, the one metric that, let's say, comes to my mind that essentially summarizes what you've just said is essentially developers' productivity. We also need to factor that into account.
Yes.
Because we heard everything about time to market, we heard about, let's say, cost, quality of the applications from Nikos, user experience, but also its developers' productivity too.
Yeah, which is very, very hard to measure, and I guess all leaders were trying, it is through the Copilots or the Cursor or the new ID or other tools where you're trying to boost that productivity, and you know, how you measure them, and the stuff we talked at the beginning. I'm kind of curious to see the questions from our audience.
We have questions from the audience, a lot of them, but I'm not sure whether we have enough time to play them.
I think we...
Because our time is officially up.
Do we have
We can
like
take
3
some?
minutes?
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
let's take.
Cool.
So I will go with the first one.
Go.
Judging from the fact that Forex Pega has a several million euros license cost, and on top of that it needs several LSEs, business architects and infrastructure that costs a lot for cloud and on-premise usage, do you think that a company that utilizes it will be ever able to do a proper return on investment? Okay. We won't know who should answer that.
I see 2 Pegas questions voted, but yeah, let's answer that one and we'll come back.
Good, yes. First of all, it's a question that has been answered back in Vodafone in 2019.
All right.
So we did let's say we made a decision if we have to take a huge investment in order to add platforms like Pega or the others that exist in market. The answer is very easy. You invest one, but you have a business case that this investment will become, let's say, visible to you back, either through the customer experience that will be increased and will be beneficial, so revenue will be increased due to this, and also with your employee satisfaction and your, as Gerasimos said, that the developer productivity will be increased, so you will be able to deliver more items very quickly, and this investment will be very, I think, not quick, but very easy to be back to you. Again, the cost is something that you have to size, and you have, of course, to understand in order to take a decision.
Thanks a lot.
Unfortunately, we don't have time for any questions, but I will be happy to share all these questions with you if you want us to post them on our social media for the people. Okay. So it wasn't much of a debate then, was it? Then it's just no deep software craftsmanship or low code, no code. It's a bit
both.
of a blend between them, right? Perfect.
All right, yeah, I think everyone enjoyed it, and it was pretty insightful and useful for the audience. We will share the questions, and you know, as I think you all said, now it's the time to invest in this type of technology and in yourselves, and keep your eyes open. I think our roles as software engineers or leaders of software engineers is keeping to evolve, and that change is the only constant. So have your eyes open.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.